Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'd be hard to
on my to-do list.
It'd be hard to prove intent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Yeah. If you know what, if I was that store owner, I would have told him in court, I'm not fucking paying you a dime.
Well, I mean, they ought to know.
I think everything they said would have been easily.
I mean, my thought is,
I can't think.
Where's the somehow I doubt the store owner has $18 million.
No.
So,
and when's the last time you saw a motherfucking security guard prevent something from happening? That's not how that. Just like the police don't prevent shit from happening, they respond after it happens.
But basically that was his whole argument, and
because if
he got it through.
If they tried to prevent something, then that's profiling,
Yep.
and that's bad. So, whoever that lawyer is good, but he's a shitty person.
oh well, but that's kind of that's the job.
Oh, really?
Yep, that's who. Not one of them, but part of that firm.
Who?
He said rainwater.
Oh, why didn't you just say that? It's public record.
Yeah.
Oh, they are good.
Rainwater, Holt and Sexton.
They are good.
Yep.
They are slick. They are smart. I've watched them, and I guarantee since
She saw a lot of them
since it was so high profile. I guarantee
everything you said I could have an easy comeback to, though.
But not a legally sound easy comeback.
Well,
That's
theirs
different.
wasn't legally sound either.
It obviously was. I mean,
if it was, then everybody that got shot up in a convenience store would be millionaires.
Well, here's the problem. They may start to be after this.
Because they've set a precedent.
Because you're right, that's a dangerous precedent.
It is.
That means that if you get shot anywhere,
somebody is liable.
Somebody is
it's
financially liable.
Dangerous. But I mean, I've sat and I've listened to the two main dudes at Rainwater, Holt, and Sexton.
Mr. Rainwater and Mr. Holton?
Yeah.
Or is it Mr.
It's actually
Holton and Sexton?
It's Holt and Sexton that do most of the trial work now. And I've listened to them. They are slick as shit.
Oh, I bet
they are smart as fuck, and that's why they're loaded.
Oh, I bet they are.
But that people don't understand, like, that a lawyer, they think a lawyer's job is to fight for you. A lawyer's job is to look for loopholes, legal loopholes. That's their fucking job, and they are taught.
That's why they're scum.
Well, I mean, I don't think all lawyers are scum anymore. I think if you say that, well, then all cops are scum. I don't believe that.
I don't think
well, if you say all lawyers look for loopholes, then there, that shows.
That's what they're trained to do. When you hire them, that's their job.
I know, they're trained to be scum.
But you wouldn't think they were scum if they were working for you.
Oh, no. If I have to hire a lawyer, I want the nastiest motherfucker I can
exactly.
find.
That's what people do. They go and hire the nastiest motherfucker because they are scum. That's how they're trained. And that's their job.
And yeah, well, you know what? And if I have to hire one, I'm going to them. Because
you're going to pay big bucks.
You know what?
That's who I used.
Yeah, if I have to hire a lawyer, I'm not worried about how much it costs right then.
Mm-hmm. Because let me tell you, I had listened to a lot of firms when I filed for my disability, and I knew I wanted somebody that if it got like where they started dissecting my record, could think on their feet in the moment. Turned out I didn't need them. It was completely
literally, the judge was like,
the judge was
the fuck are we even doing?
Why are you here? I'm like, well, because y'all made me come. It's like a rule. I didn't want to be here, and I sure didn't want to give a bunch of money to these people, but because of y'all, I have to. But yeah, I mean, I've listened to a lot of lawyers, and it makes you realize how they think, because not only would I see them argue, I would see the pleadings they write and how they interpret and how they...
And Arkansas over the years has had a lot of laws that were very vague, very,
and I mean, ultimately, the lawyer doesn't work for the courts. Ultimately, the lawyer works for the person that hires them. Mm-hmm. And, if they didn't do everything, then they would be, it would be, well, you didn't represent me to the best of your ability, and now you're liable, so I'm going to sue you. I mean, it's just, I mean...
Yeah, but the precedent that sets...
Oh, no, I don't agree with the ruling at all. Don't get me wrong.
So let me pose this. Let's say that I am going down the highway and a car kicks up. Oh, how about this? This actually happened to me. Going down the highway, this is Wednesday, I'm on my way back from Little Rock, and this was a school bus. It was on 440. school bus in the lane to the right of me, so they were in the middle lane. Kicks up a chunk of concrete that was about the size of a cinder block.
And now it's airborne.
Missed my bumper by about a foot. If that would have hit my bumper, it would have done some wicked damage.
Probably caused a terrible wreck.
Is the state of Arkansas liable because they didn't provide a?
Guess what?
Guess what?
If you're going after the state,
is that bullshit?
You're fucked.
Fucking immunity. That shit needs to fucking change.
You know what they'll pay for you?
Nothing.
Your deductible.
No, they won't. Not in a situation like that.
They won't like that. Okay.
No, they would say, prove that we knew it was like that.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
No, it does matter.
Yeah,
trust me, I've sat on hundreds and hundreds of them.
Prove that convenience store guy knew that there was going to be a problem.
Someone was going to come in and shoot someone.
Yeah,
but this is. I mean, you
can use that for anything. Don't say that's not the same thing. You can use that for anything.
But the state has that bullshit immunity.
Yeah, and that's their whole thing is
that really needs to change.
You have to prove negligence, and really, if anybody didn't do their job here, it was the attorney for the convenience store. They probably lowballed and got a cheap guy, and they got their asses handed to them.
Well, if they were that area, they probably got the...
Yeah, but you don't know the hell they may have 24 of them things. Who knows?
Yeah.
Just because their store's there don't mean they pour.
Yeah.
But yeah, like, if anybody failed... I've sat on hundreds of those, and I've watched thousands of them be filed and not even get to a hearing because I could look at it. I got to the point where I could look at the language that the people filled out, and I'd go, "You're fucked."
Okay.
You're fucked.
Okay. What about this? Let's say that I am driving on a county road. There's a semi in front of me. We'll say a log truck because this actually happened. There's a log truck in front of me. Something comes off of the bottom of it, bounces off the road, cracks my windshield. Is the county responsible? Or why not? The truck was on the county road too.
Because the material came off.
Is the truck driver responsible?
Probably not, because they've written into the law because of the trucking lobbyists that
trucking lobby is strong
here.
As fucking
That's
Arkansas.
why they don't have to cover their things, and if it flies off and hits your windshield, I guess you better file a fucking claim.
What happened with years ago the guy mowing on the side of the road and like the blade came off or something?
That
and it hit
had
the kid.
To go to a legislative hearing.
We couldn't approve that, but they kept...
That was like $2 million, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was a kid that, was ruined for life.
Yeah.
He was 2 at the time, I think.
Oh, my God.
And it ended up... Now, I'm sure this has been since I've left, but at the time that I was still working for the commission, that was the highest award we'd ever made, and we were forced to make it. Because legally we couldn't award it because the legalese of it, but they wouldn't stop, and they kept the... I don't want to use like a condescending word, but the sympathy factor was so high, as it should have been.
Right.
Because I was like, I'll write the check.
So was this because I can't remember, was this like a...
But
it was like state property.
It was in the medium.
Contractor.
In the medium, and
it was a contractor for the state.
They did not work
state.
directly for, because that's another way the state gets around it. They hire their employee. When you see the people mowing those, almost always it's a contractor,
and it's mostly like in cities. You'll see actual state crews doing it.
But most of the times they contract so that they can pass the buck.
You can bid that contract.
So did they try to sue the state or the contractor?
Mower
in this instance,
a mile
they did sue.
For $80,000.
There was some, because it wasn't actually a blade. It was, they found out what happened, and it was like one of those freak things. It was like there was something. I think it was and I mean, this has been like almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
I think there was a signpost that the state took down, but they didn't completely remove.
Okay.
And the contractor was mowing, and their blade...
So that would be on the state.
Right. So it wasn't just like it hit like debris. It was the state's debris, and they could prove it because it literally was found.
Yeah.
In the child's brain. And so, but even then, because of all the constitutional immunity. They kept on, and they got the attention of a senator, and that was on the right committee, and said, "Come on, y'all, decency." These people didn't do anything wrong, and now and so they were awarded.
And I mean, literally, the kid
will never have a future vegetable. And so they awarded the $2 million.
Well, what was
that kid's probably 20 now, if he's still alive.
How much have they spent on medical
I guarantee they passed $2 million a long time ago.
Yeah.
What about wasn't it an old couple in the snowplow?
You're going to have to give me more. There's just been so many.
Remember, they were driving down the road and they had plowed going one way and turned around in the same lane coming back the other way?
Oh, and hit and killed them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And they didn't get
shit.
Nope.
That fucking constitutional immunity is bullshit.
It's bullshit. It a lot of legal shit. Just because something's legal doesn't mean it's just.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's why, because at one time I was going to be a lawyer.
Yeah, I thought about it too.
I couldn't function in that system. Like you have to have. It's kind of like being a surgeon or a nurse. You have to be compassionate, but you also have to be very mercenary to survive it. And I've got the compassion out the asshole. I can't do the mercenary because my mind would always be, what am I doing to these people? You know, there's people behind every claim, and I could never.
I can, but I've got to look at myself in the mirror too.
I couldn't do it. I'd be one of those that blew their brains out. I couldn't do it.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
I'm telling you, I had a long talk with myself, and I was like, "Could you really?" Because I started, researching really what it meant to, and I was like, "Could you really do this? Could you really do this?" No. The answer is no.
That's why I wanted to be an animal. God, my brain's not working tonight.
Animal control?
Yeah, animal control officer. Because I want to help these poor creatures.
Your heart breaks. You see these things.
And I want to help them get out of it. But to see that every day, and then most of those animals have to be put down.
And so often your fucking hands are tied, and you just have to watch.
And I was like, I can't. Once I learned more about it, I was like, I can't do it.
And that was
as it turns out, she just likes to pet animals.
Well, I mean, no,
I would
love to be able to save them.
Yeah.
But the problem, because I know animal control officers, and they see a dog that they know is being abused, but in the letter of the law, that people are doing everything.
That's when you need a superhero.
No, that's when you need...
Because they can work outside the law.
A crazy person who's in rescue that will just jump the fence and steal the dog one day. And I'm more likely to be that person.
You ain't gonna jump no fence.
Well, okay, I'll cut through the fence. But there was a time when I could jump the fence, bitch. That was rude and ageist and ableist.
That's not a word.
Oh, everything's a word.
Ageist.
Yeah.
I thought you said Asian for a minute.
No.
Asian.
I know what it's probably supposed to mean.
Well, I mean, I don't know. I've seen, Mom, after she retired, wanted to go to work again. She would apply for things she was so crazy qualified for. And they wouldn't hire her.
That is actually age discrimination, and it's very much against the law.
That's ageist. That's what I said. You just said it didn't exist.
People use that word all the time.
Age discrimination.
Ageist.
It's the same thing.
Like sexist.
Yeah.
Whatever. It's very much against the law.
Right. But it's also ableist, because that's something that I was talking to somebody about. I don't know. I talk a lot. But, all these things, that we've seen in the last year and a half of people being accommodations made for work at home. Like, if people had been that willing to work outside the box, I would have never had to retire.
No.
VA's that willing. I've been working from home since 2013.
Okay, but that's one situation. It's not. It's never been the norm. Even now, they're trying to get people to go back into offices that have not worked in an office in a year and a half.
When it could easily be done.
Right, and that just proves that it could have easily been instigated a long time ago, where people who have disabilities could still maintain gainful employment if the system would work with them. But
that's one thing. You won't ever hear me praise 2 administrations ago. But that's one thing that he did right. Because it was damn it. It was his administration that said, "Hey, you know what? If we can have people work from home, let's have them work from home.
Federally, you mean?